Hey guys, Jonas here. This week I want to talk about Aperture and how you can use Aperture to give your film a more cinematic look, and especially when we talk about the B-roll stuff. Right now, Rob and I are here in the Driftless region shooting things like this. So the idea here is that playing with the aperture is going to change the depth of field of your shots. It's a pretty powerful tool when you set the scene of your film, and it gives it kind of a more cinematic look if you drop down the aperture to give it really a shallow depth of field as opposed to a really wide and big depth of field. And this is also what kind of set aside our DSLR cameras as well as our film cameras, kind of batch them together, as opposed to shooting a whole documentary on, for example, your iPhone, where you can't change the aperture as much. So this is a really shallow depth of field, but watch this. If Rob moves it up, you see how things change and we get more of the background in focus as well. For interviews, I find it kind of distracting when the whole background is in focus as well. So what Rob and I like to do is shrink the depth of field a little bit, kind of like this. You see how I'm still in focus, but the background is still, it's blurred out a little bit. And that allows us to focus on the subject that we're doing the interview with a lot more, and we don't get so much distracted by the background. One cool thing you can do if you're playing with a shallow depth of field is something we refer to as a rack focus. Basically, you go from one focal plane to another, which shifts the focus between two subjects or two objects in your shot. I like to add it with my, my slider here. Basically, if I was to have this birch right here, I could have that in focus, and then as I'm sliding, I'm shifting the focus to focus on what is in the background instead. There are, of course, many times when you don't want to go too crazy with a super shallow depth of field, even when you're shooting B-roll. There are many times where I like to increase the f-stop number, the aperture number a little bit. For example, if I'm following someone, there's a high risk that when that person is moving, they're going to be moving in and out of focus, which could look cool sometimes, but also distracting sometimes. So we hope this is going to help you get some really cool shots for your film. Playing with Aperture is kind of fun. If you like this, also check out some of the other videos that we have. Last week, Rob did a video on how to play with shutter speed, specifically for photographs. He was taking pictures of waterfalls up here. It's really cool. And also check out some of the other videos on the channel, of course. Thanks for watching, and see you in another video.